Tonight on CTV News at 6, arguing about infill.
Let's engage with neighborhoods on the plans that are actually about their neighborhood.
A call for an infill moratorium as complaints about changes to neighborhoods build.
The next thing I know, I've got that 3-story up looking down on me.
At odds with Ottawa, the Premier's panel on the province's future.
They could solve this by having a mea culpa moment like they did when they repealed the carbon tax.
And keeping the good times rolling, capitalizing on the Oilers' deep playoff run.
Our work didn't just focus on the playoff run itself, but on taking that momentum and driving it forward.
Temperatures warmed up back into the 20s today. We should stay there through the rest of this week with a chance of a few more scattered showers and thunderstorms in the coming days.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. Edmonton City Councillor and mayoral candidate Tim Cartmell is calling for a moratorium on all new infill development. The city changed its zoning bylaw last year to make it easier for developers to build multi-unit homes in any residential zone. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti joins us now live with more. Miriam, why is Cartmell opposing the policy?
Well, Jeff, since the bylaw came into place 18 months ago, some Edmontonians have been pushing back. Homeowners say the rezoning allows tall multiplexes to block sunlight and alters the character of existing neighborhoods. Cartmell says the city has missed the mark on infills.
Let's engage with neighborhoods on the plans that are actually about their neighborhood. Let's take a pause on these very interior infills and, be heard, let people be heard and adjust from there.
He says the city's infill strategy has moved faster than Edmonton's infrastructure and planning and needs to be fixed. Cartmell plans to move the motion for a moratorium during a public hearing on Monday. Fellow mayoral candidate and city councillor Andrew Knack is against a full stop of the bylaw.
At a time where we have a housing crisis, at a time where people are facing affordability challenges, particularly in relation to housing, to stop all development in our older neighborhoods, and I mean, I live in an older neighborhood as well, to stop all that development would mean that we actually don't have housing for people.
Knack says during the public hearing Monday, City Council will already be making changes to the bylaw based off feedback from Edmontonians. He says refining the rezoning rules and making adjustments is the best way forward. And Cartmell also plans to move a motion to direct administration to update the city's district plans to prepare for population growth of over 2 million people. Jeff?
All right, Miriam, thank you. Miriam Valdez-Carletti live for us tonight. An infill oddity to share with you tonight. Some neighbors in Forest Heights say they feel powerless to fight back against some new homes they think are too tall and don't fit the neighborhood. As CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports, the infill owner is intentionally building single-family homes rather than a multiplex because of his own negative experience with infill.
In a sea of bungalows and split levels, this new 3-story home in Forest Heights certainly sticks out. The height is allowed under city zoning rules, but there is one obstruction ahead: the neighbors.
The next thing I know, I've got that 3-story up looking down on me.
Just 2 years ago, the property on Roland Road featured a bungalow.
We actually bought the bungalow, but the bungalow had foundation issues and roof issues.
Julian LaPlante and his wife plan to live in the middle of 3 single-family homes they're building on the 90-foot lot. He's been introducing himself to neighbors, acknowledging it's a big change.
We're excited to be part of the neighborhood.
Well, it's a very, very nice neighborhood, but I just don't like what's happening.
There are anti-infill signs on lawns nearby. This one raises population, parking, and waste collection as concerns, but LaPlante didn't build an 8-plex like the zoning allows because of his own experience with infill.
We wanted to be close to, single-family houses, not multi-families. I mean, we're from Strathern right now. Strathern obviously has a lot of that development going on, so we've seen that.
Area Councillor Ashley Salvador says while they follow the letter of the zoning bylaw, million-dollar single-family homes are not the infill council is trying to encourage.
Part of the reason we are moving forward with a number of changes in our zoning bylaw is to diversify the types of housing we're seeing so that we can start to integrate more affordable options into our neighborhoods.
Whether it's not enough density or too tall, LaPlante is hearing concerns from both sides. He believes he's found a middle ground.
We really want to make sure that, this wasn't a this law could be used for something a lot different, and we want it to be an asset to the community, not a detriment.
Council will debate zoning changes at a public hearing next week. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The UCP government says it wants Albertans to decide the province's future, not Ottawa. Today, the Premier revealed more details about her Alberta Next panel. CTV's Nerman Issa joins us now. Nerman, what does Danielle Smith hope to accomplish with the Alberta Next panel?
Well, Jeff, Danielle Smith and her government hope this panel will give them a better idea of how Albertans are feeling. That includes recommendations on potential referendum questions for Albertans to vote on next year. It will also challenge what Smith calls unfair intrusions from the federal government.
Ottawa has been interfering in every aspect of our provincial jurisdiction in deeper and deeper ways for about a decade now, and we've had enough of it.
The panel will be chaired by the Premier and include more than a dozen members, such as UCP MLAs, along with business and community leaders and experts. They will gather feedback on topics such as the Alberta Pension Plan, a provincial police service, equalization payments, and Alberta separation. Smith says this panel is a message to Prime Minister Mark Carney and his government.
I hope he takes the separatist sentiment as seriously as I do. It's no joke, and it's the highest I've ever seen it. And the reason for it is because of bad policies in Ottawa. And as I mentioned, they could solve this. They could solve this by having a mea culpa moment, like they did when they repealed the carbon tax.
One Alberta political scientist calls this a revised version of Jason Kenney's Fair Deal panel from 5 years ago. Lori Williams doesn't believe the results will be substantially different. She does believe it could ramp up separation talks.
The more you focus on the dissatisfaction with Confederation, the harder it is to quell those more separatist, those more hardline views within the province. It could actually increase both support for separatism and opposition to her own government for not going far enough.
Now, over the next 4 months, the Alberta Next panel will gather input from Albertans at town halls, along with a survey. The panel's recommendations will be submitted to the province at the end of the year. Jeff.
All right, Nerman, thank you. NDP leader Naheed Nenshi is stepping off the sidelines and into the legislature as an MLA after winning a seat in one of 3 by-elections last night.
I'm looking forward to spending the summer traveling across Alberta and just speaking with Albertans about their interests, their needs, and what they're worried about, and showing them how we may be a great solution for them.
Nenshi won the riding of Edmonton-Strathcona with more than 80% of the vote. The seat was left empty after former Alberta NDP leader Rachel Notley stepped down. The Alberta NDP also held on to its seat in Edmonton-Ellerslie. Kurtej Singh Brar says he'll work 24/7 for his constituents.
People want, badly, their South Edmonton hospital built, and they also talk about the separation because when as an immigrant, we always think about Canada when we came. Our dream was came to Canada, right? So people were so frustrated.
In Olds, Didsbury, Three Hills, the UCP's Tara Sawyer won with 61% of the vote. The Republican Party of Alberta came in 3rd behind the NDP.
The results of this by-election in Olds, Didsbury, Three Hills could not be more disastrous for the Republican Party of Alberta. To have come in 3rd behind the NDP is not something that even their most ardent supporters could ever have imagined, and I would expect them to go off into the wilderness at this point.
Cam Davies of the Republican Party says he considers this by-election a success for laying the party's foundation. Official results will be confirmed July 3rd. The legislature will resume sitting the last week of October. A provincial government committee has approved extra funding for the Auditor General's investigation into allegations of corruption in private healthcare contracts. The Auditor General says the scope and complexity of the work means his office needs nearly $1 million more. The money will go towards additional help and to cover legal costs. Members from both the UCP and NDP who sit on the legislature committee that approved the request say Wiley is doing important work. His investigation began earlier this year as a result of allegations made by the former head of Alberta Health Services. Court documents are revealing some of the alleged inner workings of the group believed to be behind a series of arsons and violent extortions targeting South Asian homebuilders in Edmonton. An agreed statement of facts was presented last week alongside a guilty plea to extortion and arson by one of the men involved. The court heard more about the alleged leadership of the extortion group, including Manny Dhaliwal, who is currently in custody overseas. The statement also named the victim of a high-profile killing, Harpreet Uppal. He was shot and killed along with his 11-year-old son in southeast Edmonton in 2023. The documents claim both Dhaliwal and Uppal were members of the Brothers Keepers crime group. Among several other revelations, it's alleged a security guard hired to watch a construction site was attacked with a hammer by members of the group. Edmonton police are seeking Dhaliwal's extradition from the UAE to face charges here. Mayor Amarjeet Sohi says he supports a 10-year extension of a special tax program downtown. Sohi says since 2015, the Downtown Community Revitalization Levy has funded parks, infrastructure upgrades, and other catalyst projects generating billions in investment. A new event park beside Rogers Place is complicating the debate. The Oilers Entertainment Group owns the land. The provincial government will help fund the project only if the city pitches in through the levy. Councillor Michael Jan says the money shouldn't go towards the event park. He wants it out of the CRL debate. The mayor says people need to look at the whole picture.
Event Park is only one of 6 or 7 new projects that we will be able to build by extending the CRL by 10 years. You know, I am very, very excited and hopeful that with this extension, if approved by council, we will be able to finish Windspear construction. That's a huge uplift for the downtown.
Many area businesses also believe the levy is essential to boost downtown. A public hearing on the CRL extension is scheduled to begin on Thursday. The search is on for a new chief executive officer of the Edmonton Downtown Business Association.
This was a really bittersweet decision to make, a really difficult decision to make. 5 years feels like the right amount of time to do a role like this.
Panita McBrien says she'll be stepping down as the head of the DBA by the end of this year. McBrien says she's proud of the projects she implemented during her tenure. That includes the Downtown Ambassadors, Core Patrol, different major events, and taking over the Downtown Farmers Market.
People might remember from before was a much smaller organization. We've started doing a lot of big new things that I think fill a lot of gaps in our downtown and help make a better downtown for everyone.
The recruitment process for a new leader will start within the next couple of weeks. A patriotic sight today on the north side of the city. A military helicopter could be seen flying with a very large Canadian flag. This video was taken from the passenger seat of one of our news vehicles along Anthony Henday Drive near the Edmonton Garrison. We've reached out to the Garrison for information. Canada Day is 1 week from today. The Garrison is hosting family-friendly activities. First check on weather. Josh, a little warmer today.
Yeah, 15 degrees yesterday. Today, well, it started on the cool side, but we got to 21 for a daytime high this afternoon. And that's where we sit right now in downtown Edmonton. It was a little breezy at times, gusts to around 30 kilometers per hour, but looks like that wind is starting to die down now, and it should be a fairly calm day tomorrow. And even warmer tomorrow than today. Today, back to average, 21 for your high, 22 is the average. Look at that start, though. It was 1 at the International Airport. Downtown, 4 degrees for your morning low. Average low is 11. We'll be back into that 11 to 13 degree range tomorrow morning. Here's what it looks like outside right now with the CTV drone. And yeah, there's a little bit of thin high-level cloud, and then those thicker clouds that you're seeing are at a lower level. No imminent showers or thunderstorms for the Edmonton area. I think we'll stay dry through this evening. We had talked yesterday about a chance for some showers coming in from the northwest. You see that precipitation that slid through Athabasca? It's kind of falling apart as it rolls through Lac La Biche area right now. That was the chance. So it passed well to the north of the city. There's the cloud cover in Edmonton. I do think that will clear out for a while. And then if you look back further to the west and northwest, now there are some isolated thunderstorms. Most of them probably missed the city, but there's a slight chance late tonight, between 10 p.m. and midnight, that you might see an isolated cell slide through. At the bottom of your screen there, just south of Rocky Mountain House, between Rocky Mountain House and Caroline, is actually a severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued for that. Could see some sizable hail coming off of that storm. We'll take a closer look in a couple minutes at that one. 13 degrees in Edmonton tomorrow morning. We'll start the day with mostly cloudy skies, then some sunny breaks in the afternoon, and late afternoon, early evening, slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm, but 23 or 24 for a daytime high, as we're back to a couple of degrees above average for tomorrow and Thursday.
Thanks, Josh. Stay with us. Up next, the silver lining of a Stanley Cup loss.
There's a huge ripple impact across the entire downtown, but also across the whole city.
While the Oilers may have lost the cup, their playoff run brought home a major economic win for Edmonton. Also next.
This virtual power plant is tangible proof of what this innovation can mean for our communities.
An Edmonton neighborhood getting a high-tech boost to access clean energy.
Casino, 3 great locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
This year's Oilers playoff run meant more than a $250 million boost for Edmonton's economy. As CTV's Amanda Anderson explains, the challenge now is keeping that momentum.
I haven't been to the gym in 3 months. Like, the steps I was putting in while I was here was insane.
Melanie Sear is a longtime server, but this was her first time working near the arena during playoffs.
So there's some days some girls work 10, 12 hours. It was crazy. We didn't stop. If you look at our schedule now compared to during the playoffs, it's like in half.
Game days and watch parties drew upwards of 30,000 people downtown, according to data just released by Explore Edmonton. $266 million was shot into the city's economy during this year's playoff run, including 80,000 overnight hotel stays.
From bartenders to Uber drivers to maintenance staff in the hotels to the people who are working at the arena itself, there's a huge ripple impact across the entire downtown, but also across the whole city.
There were 3 fewer games during the 4 rounds compared to last year's playoffs, which saw $280 million generated.
I get a little worried that we're dependent on it now because it's just so positive. You know, if we can have that every spring, it completely transforms the way people think about our city and our downtown, the way, businesses think about their outlook for a year.
Our work didn't just focus on the playoff run itself, but on taking that momentum and driving it forward. We used this as a really big opportunity, for example, to highlight why Lonely Planet named Edmonton one of the top 10 cities to visit in 2025.
Sear says Kelly's Pub is like a pit stop for downtown events and isn't too worried about the hockey offseason.
We're like the players at the end of the day. We're done. We're tired. Time for a little recuperation for next season,
For now, she's enjoying the slightly slower pace. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The federal government is spending millions of dollars to help several Alberta businesses scale up. Federal Cabinet Minister at Edmonton Centre MP Eleanor Olszewski says nearly $11 million will go to 7 Alberta-based businesses and organizations. Olszewski says the companies were picked for their use of artificial intelligence and advanced manufacturing. She says the money will help them grow and adapt in their quickly changing fields.
It's really more than bringing just a product or just a service to market, because ultimately it's really about empowering people and our communities to be resilient, to be adaptable, and to be prosperous.
The feds say the money will also help support approximately 200 jobs across Alberta. A virtual power plant is under construction in Edmonton's Blatchford neighborhood. The plant is made up of 100 batteries deployed throughout homes in the solar-powered community. EPCOR says instead of excess energy from solar panels flowing directly to the power grid, the energy is stored. That stored energy is then put onto the grid when demand is high. EPCOR says virtual power plants will save customers money and be better for the environment.
This virtual power plant is tangible proof of what this innovation can mean for our community. communities. It gives these homeowners the benefit of clean, reliable energy that will lower their overall utility costs, and it gives other customers a new reliable source of energy that they can draw on if needed.
The batteries can also provide the community with emergency backup power. Up next, the unique way killer whales use kelp.
That kind of manufacture or fashioning of a tool is pretty rare.
What Canadian researchers say the discovery teaches us about how the whales socialize. Also next, the iconic shoes worn by Terry Fox on his Marathon of Hope making a comeback.
Back into the low 20s today, and we should see daytime highs in the low to mid 20s right through the rest of this week. More on that and the scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast right after the break.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. By Basement Systems Edmonton. Contact us today for all things basement-y.
Adidas is preparing to re-release the iconic shoes once worn by a Canadian hero. Terry Fox's iconic navy blue and white Adidas Orions are being re-released July 3rd in honor of the 45th anniversary of the Marathon of Hope. Terry's brother Daryl and the National Ride of Hope passed through Thunder Bay, Ontario today, the same location Terry's cross-Canada run came to an end in 1980. As of this morning, the 7,000-kilometer ride across Canada had nearly reached its goal of raising $1 million for cancer research. All right, Josh, a little while ago you said showers and thunderstorms. That's all I heard.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty scattered and hit and miss. There aren't too many days in the next 4 or 5 where it's a good, steady day of rain. There's a look right outside right now from the Action Furnace River Valley Skycam. Action Furnace fixed right or it's free. It's 21 degrees, which is our daytime high today. Quite the climb from where we were this morning. 4 degrees downtown. International Airport at 1. Cold Lake and Coronation hit 0 this morning. A little milder in Grand Prairie at 9 degrees. Daytime high in Grand Prairie today, 23. Here in Edmonton and Red Deer, 21's 21 as well. In Fort McMurray, still a little cooler in East Central Alberta, 17 for the high in Lloydminster. So you've got these scattered showers that move through areas north of Edmonton, kind of fizzling out as they push further to the east. You have these isolated thunderstorms coming off of the foothills and up in northwestern Alberta. There's the severe thunderstorm warning between Rocky Mountain House and Caroline. This storm cell is right just off to the northwest corner of Caroline. And you notice it's not really moving all that much. It's kind of tumbling off to the southeast a little bit. I mean, some of this rain may stretch into the Red Deer region here before the evening is done. But it looks like the core there, where you're getting some possibly toonie-sized hail, that should fizzle out before it gets even close to the Red Deer area. But we'll keep an eye on that one. It's not a threat to Edmonton. We'll see what happens with these two here as they track off to the east-northeast. It would be late this evening, like 10 p.m., midnight-ish, that you might see 1 or 2 of those cells slide through. So the rest of this evening, at least the early evening hours, looks pretty dry here in the Edmonton area. Tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy. There will be a few sunny breaks, but way more cloud than sunshine to start the day. There's a chance of a few scattered showers midday and early afternoon. I really think the best chance for us here in Edmonton doesn't come until late tomorrow night. You can see tomorrow afternoon a lot of activity across northern Alberta and then back through the south and in through the foothills. And watch, this is 4 a.m. Thursday morning. From Edmonton east towards Lloydminster, you have a chance of showers. That kind of lingers through the morning hours Thursday, then a break. And then some of these may slide through Thursday night. So again, it's not going to be heavy, steady, non-stop precipitation, but each of the next couple of days has at least a chance of some hit and miss showers or thunderstorms. 21 in Fort McMurray right now, as well as Red Deer and Edmonton. 23 in Grand Prairie. The wind has died down here in Edmonton after gusting to about 30 earlier in the day. Should be about 10 to 15 overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning, then 5 to 10 through the day tomorrow. 13 degrees to start, and up to about 23 or 24 tomorrow afternoon with that 30% chance of a scattered late day shower or thunderstorm. Thursday, chance of showers early in the morning, then a break, and then Thursday evening. Saturday, those showers on Saturday could be a little steadier, especially through the first half of the day. So we'll see how that plays out. And then after that, it really starts to heat up and it dries up for a couple of days as well. Back to sunshine for Sunday, Monday, and near 30 for Canada Day, 1 week from today.
Thank you, Josh. Many Alberta farmers say the recent rain is good news during the growing season. In southern Alberta, many farmers believe the rain is a turnaround event after a dry spring. Water levels in reservoirs are rising, and the weekend rain should help ensure there's enough water for the summer.
They talk about $1 million rains, but you know, these are multi-million-dollar rains for lots of farms.
I've heard from some of my irrigators that they feel it could be a real game changer for this year's crop year of just the time it came and the amount of volume that we got in some areas.
Several southern Alberta communities are still cleaning up from sewer backups and downed trees caused by recent storms. Alberta Fish and Wildlife says there are no plans to move or euthanize a bobcat and her kittens after an attack in Calgary. Officers say the bobcat's behavior was defense. A woman was walking her dog near her home Monday morning when the mother bobcat ran at her and bit her. She was taken to hospital with minor cuts and scratches. The Fish and Wildlife team says it isn't planning to take any action since it appears to have been an isolated chance encounter. Officers say there is no immediate risk to the public. Researchers say they've discovered some new social behaviors in killer whales related to the way they use kelp. Scientists at the Centre for Whale Research say they've seen multiple instances of southern resident killer whales in the Salish Sea using kelp to strengthen social bonds. The orcas have been spotted off the coast of Vancouver Island, breaking off pieces of kelp to rub between their bodies in what's believed to be both a hygienic and a social behavior. Researchers say while other marine mammals often practice good hygiene, the use of a separate tool to mutually enhance social touch has only been observed amongst the southern resident orcas.
The other thing that's unique about this observation is the whales aren't just finding a piece of kelp or an object in the environment and then using it as a tool. They're finding complete kelp stalks in the environment, actively modifying them to then use them in this behavior. So that kind of manufacture or fashioning of a tool is pretty rare.
As of today, there are fewer than 80 southern resident killer whales left in the Pacific Northwest. Still to come, a furious Donald Trump lashes out at Israel and Iran.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Latest on a fragile ceasefire plus.
How much is it actually for you?
5% of our GDP would be about $150 billion.
I mean, that's a lot.
NATO leaders discuss a new defense spending target that could more than triple Canada's yearly costs.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
The U.S. president says the Israel-Iran ceasefire he arranged is back in effect. After a shaky start, the truce seems to be holding after a furious Donald Trump lashed out at both countries. CTV's Joy Malvin has more from Washington.
After brokering a fragile ceasefire, the U.S. president visibly angry and let the F word fly.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Sending a message to warring nations, Israel and Iran, to knock it off.
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it.
After agreeing to Donald Trump's ceasefire overnight, the Israeli army struck hard at Iranian government targets, including a radar site north of Tehran. And Israel says it struck back too, after Iranian missiles had been fired in the south, killing 4 Israelis. The president trying to hold this truce together, telling reporters he was firm, demanding Israel's prime minister bring back its planes and stop the bombing.
Tired of it. I think they don't want it to happen again. And Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon, by the way. I think it's the last thing on their mind right now.
After the U.S. bombed 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities deep underground and days of Israeli strikes on nuclear targets, Iran has been weakened. But how far has Tehran nuclear ambitions been set back?
Is there any highly enriched uranium left?
And are there any of these centrifuges left as well? That's a big question.
And an early U.S. intelligence report suggests that America's bunker-busting bombs may not have destroyed Iran's nuclear sites. This is at odds with the president, who insists they were completely obliterated. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
More than 100 Canadians are scheduled to leave Jordan tonight on a government-chartered flight. It's part of ongoing efforts to assist Canadians who want to escape the fighting in the region.
As of today, we have helped over 500 Canadians in the region. We've deployed additional consular services throughout the region.
Canada is also helping allied nations get their citizens out of the Middle East. Ottawa says the number of foreign nationals asking for help is minimal compared to the number of Canadians. Ground transportation is also available to help get Canadians out of Israel to a neighboring country. Global Affairs has deployed more consular assistance to the region. The Prime Minister is meeting with other NATO leaders in the Netherlands. The conflict in the Middle East and Russia's invasion of Ukraine are at the top of the agenda. Mark Carney will also face calls to commit to a new spending target just weeks after reaching the current level. CTV's Jeremy Charon reports from The Hague.
An historic NATO summit now underway in the Netherlands. Prime Minister Mark Carney joining all 32 alliance members in The Hague.
Thank you personally for your
meeting with many today for bilateral meetings.
handshake. Okay, very good.
The summit set to focus on a new defense investment plan aimed at increasing NATO's collective readiness.
And it's important to be clear what we are potentially, and I think likely to all agree tomorrow, which is, and let's take the 5% of GDP figure, which is a big number.
That figure would become the new baseline defense spending target. 3.5% would be core defense spending and another 1.5% on defense-related infrastructure investments. The increase would cost Canada tens of billions more a year.
How much is it actually for you?
5% of our GDP would be about $150 billion.
I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot of numbers.
Per year?
Per year.
But a timeline to get to it is the next big question. And Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says it will be an important part of the conversation.
And one of the dates that is being proposed is 2029. And we like to see steps along the way where there can be a re-examination of whether this is the right approach.
But Canada arrives at the summit having only just committed to meet the current 2% target this fiscal year. And some suggest Carney's government has work to do to re-establish Canada's reputation on the issue.
Canada's credibility collectively and the Canadian reputation that Mr. Carney inherited when he became Prime Minister is far from great on this issue.
An official decision on increasing the alliance's defense spending commitment will come tomorrow, when all 32 member nations sit down for the summit's main meeting, where support for Ukraine is on the agenda too. Jeremy Charon, CTV News, The Hague.
An Ontario man is facing charges after a border drug bust worth more than $23 million. The Canadian Border Services Agency says it found 187 kilograms of suspected cocaine hidden inside a commercial truck. It was entering Canada from the U.S. through the Blue Water Bridge crossing in Sarnia, Ontario. A man from Brampton has been charged with importing cocaine and possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. Prosecutors have rested their case in the criminal trial of American music mogul and hip-hop artist Sean Diddy Combs. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. The prosecution has called a total of 34 witnesses. Today, a Homeland Security Investigations special agent was on the stand. Defense attorneys and the jury also reviewed text messages between Diddy and his associates. The defense argues the prosecution failed to prove alleged crimes. Closing arguments are expected to run Thursday and Friday. If convicted on all counts, Combs could face up to life in prison. A heat wave is sweeping parts of Canada and the U.S. Roads in Missouri buckled under the intense heat. At least one street shifted and folded just as a car was driving over it, briefly sending it airborne. Officials say the extreme heat is to blame, with other roads in the state showing cracks and damage. Extreme heat alerts are in place in several U.S. cities. Some, including Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, are already breaking records. In Canada, heat warnings are in effect in southern Quebec and much of mainland Nova Scotia. 3 outdoor pools in Montreal are staying open until 10 p.m. every night to help people cool off. High humidity is making it feel even hotter. In Nova Scotia, today's temperatures were forecast to hit 30 degrees but feel more like 40 because of the humidity. Toronto has claimed Canada's first super tall skyscraper. The designation became official this morning when construction at 1 Bloor West surpassed the 300-meter mark. Once complete, it will be the tallest residential building in the country at 85 stories. It will also be the second tallest structure in Canada after the CN Tower. Stay with us. Up next, a turbulent report.
The crew shouldn't have had to be heroes, because this accident never should have happened.
The National Transportation Safety Board says multiple system failures are to blame for a door flying off a plane mid-flight. And Alberta researchers suggesting changes for how some animals are treated at the Calgary Stampede. There is a live look from the CTV drone of the Alberta Aviation Museum on Kingsway. A little bit of trivia for you. The Royal Canadian Air Force built the hangar that houses the museum during the Second World War for the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan. Stay with us. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar closed at 72 cents to the American dollar. The price of oil pulled back down more than $4, closing at $64.37 U.S. a barrel. Gold lost $61 on the day. The TSX closed 109 points up, while the Dow Jones was up 507. An Ontario court has certified a class action lawsuit brought forth by survivors of a mass shooting against gun manufacturer Smith & Wesson. The lead plaintiff says the gun used in the attack and others like it should never have been available to a civilian.
A lot of those handguns were really designed for other purposes. I mean, the one that's involved is called the military M&P 40, which stands for military and police. It's the same gun that was marketed to police forces and the military to be a sidearm. But, having that gun available in retail shops across the country made it vulnerable to theft, which is exactly what happened. The gun ended up in the hands of the wrong person who used it for his hateful acts on that night.
In 2018, a gunman killed 2 people and injured 13 others in a mass shooting on the Danforth in Toronto's Greektown. The gunman used a stolen semi-automatic made by Smith & Wesson. Survivors and their families are suing the gunmaker for failing to implement technology to prevent unauthorized use of the gun. Today's ruling overturns a lower court decision which originally dismissed the action. The National Transportation Safety Board says multiple system failures led to an incident nearly a year and a half ago when a door plug flew off an Alaska Airlines plane in flight. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more on the NTSB report.
Today, the NTSB criticizing Boeing, its subcontractor Spirit Aerosystems, and the FAA for that terrifying Alaska Airlines flight when a door plug flew off mid-flight.
The safety deficiencies that led to this accident should have been evident to Boeing and to the FAA.
The NTSB saying Boeing didn't inspect for bolts that were supposed to be holding the door plug to the fuselage. They were missing. The NTSB also criticizing the FAA for the lack of overall oversight and not requiring infants to be restrained, calling the agency the last line of defense. In January 2024, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 took off from Portland International Airport when the mid-exit door plug flew off the plane minutes later, leading to a rapid decompression on board. You can see the chaos in these moments captured on camera.
To quote the captain, it was an explosive experience. The first officer said it was chaos. Back in the cabin, the flight attendant saw 5 empty seats next to a gaping hole in row 26 and believed multiple passengers had been lost.
In fact, miraculously, all 177 people on board survived. The plane was able to make an emergency landing.
Yet the crew shouldn't have had to be heroes, because this accident never should have happened.
The NTSB preliminary report revealing Boeing employees felt pressure to work too fast, making it difficult to avoid mistakes. Alaska Airlines saying in a statement, "We look forward to reviewing the final report in the weeks ahead." Spirit Aerosystems saying it has supported the NTSB's investigation and looks forward to the NTSB's full report. The NTSB's final and complete report on the incident will be available in the next few weeks. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Calgary Stampede is making some changes to the way animals are treated. Researchers at the University of Calgary found some rodeo animals at the Stampede showed signs of discomfort in the heat last summer. This year, tents will be set up to keep the animals cool. Researchers will examine how animals in the shade fare compared to animals that are not.
We need to have some sort of facts and data to lead us as to what the right direction is. And it's also, like I said, sure, shade should make the animals cooler, but is it set up the right way? Are there other ways that, the configuration, the materials of the shade that's provided?
The Stampede and U of C have been teaming up for more than 10 years to study different aspects of the Stampede animals. The Calgary Stampede begins July the 4th. Coming up, a Canadian newborn breaking the mold.
We were surprised to find out that his weight exceeded the upper limit. We had to actually call the Ontario Registry, and they had to manually update it.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV, starting at 7 with E-Talk.
An Ontario family is sharing the story of their son's birth and the big surprise that came with it. When he arrived, little Grayson weighed in at a whopping 15 pounds. Even the hospital was caught off guard. CTV's Luke Simard has that story.
Daddy messed it up.
Meet Grayson, a soon-to-be one-year-old baby. When Grayson was born, he weighed a staggering 15 pounds and 10 ounces, a weight not seen before at Orillia Soldiers Memorial Hospital, making a case for the largest baby ever born in Ontario.
He was 24.5 inches long, and his head was 42.5 centimeters, I believe.
Correct.
I did have a planned C-section for that day, so we left here bright and early, I believe 4 o'clock in the morning, I think it was.
With a baby born of that size, there came challenges, especially after birth.
He was wearing a size 3 diaper, which isn't very common for a newborn baby, but the hospital was very good with, getting their hands on the resources that we needed.
When Orillia Soldiers Memorial Hospital went to register Grayson's weight, they ran into a unique situation.
When Grayson was born, the team went to enter his weight into the Ontario Registry, and we were surprised to find out that his weight exceeded the upper limit. We had to actually call the Ontario Registry, and they had to manually update it on their end, which was a first for us.
Grayson would wear clothing for a 6-month-old baby right after birth, but his growth has now slowed down, looking and acting as an 11-month-old baby should. The family sharing their story in hopes of encouraging families to trust the process of your pregnancy if having a larger baby.
There were challenges and obstacles with Grayson at the beginning, and lots of unknowns, even from, healthcare professionals and everything, but we got through it all, and I mean, he's thriving. He's doing amazing.
According to Born Ontario, Grayson's birth weight of 15 pounds and 10 ounces would put him in the top 0.01 percentile of weight when it comes to babies being born. Grayson, a happy and healthy baby, will be turning 1 on July 4th. Luke Simard, CTV News, Orillia.
Every football scout in the country really excited.
Yeah. Although now that he's back to not the
he'll get it up, I believe.
Take a look outside at your forecast. 13 degrees tomorrow morning, 24 tomorrow afternoon. Mixed sun and cloud. There is a slight chance around midnight tonight, and then again late in the afternoon tomorrow for a scattered shower or thunderstorm. Thursday could see a few showers in the morning, and then again perhaps in the evening hours. Temperatures, though, staying nice and warm, low to mid-20s for daytime highs right through to the weekend. And as we pointed out a little earlier in the newscast, for Canada Day next week, 28 or 29 for a daytime high. Things really start to heat up.
All right. Thanks, Josh. And thank you very much for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit ctvnewsedmonton.ca or now the CTV channel on YouTube. See ya.